بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. آمنوا بالله وأنفقوا مما جعلكم مستخلفين فيه. صدق الله العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد في أول كلامنا، اللهم صل على محمد في أوسط كلامنا، اللهم صل على محمد في آخر كلامنا. Alhamdulillah, we have once again gathered here today, the blessed month of Ramadan, and we only have about 4 or 5 days left. Let us make certain resolutions, certain commitments between ourselves and Allah. One is the ibadah that I do in the masjid, one is the worship that I do in front of people, one is the ibadah that I do with my family at home. But every person should have a secret ibadah, should have a secret which only Allah knows. Certain ibadah a person should do, certain good deed a person should do, which nobody should know. Only him and Allah knows. Secret. There should be just that one ibadah. Maybe that something we do nobody in the world knows. So the month of Ramadan is the month to make certain commitments with Allah. Today inshallah we're going to share some practical things. The verse which I just recited is the verse of Surah Al-Hadid where Allah says, Aminu billah. Bring iman in Allah. That is the first stage. Before doing any deed, we should know who we are doing this for. Man sama Ramadana imanan wa ihtisaba. The one who fasts in the month of Ramadan with iman and with the hope for reward. Meaning, before doing any deed, he should have the right iman. He should have the right intention. That is iman. To the extent that if a person had the wrong intention, that will have an effect on the person's iman. And the Prophet ﷺ says, Inna yasira ghiya'i shirk. Even the slightest showing off is actually a shirk. So that is not iman. So ikhlas, sincerity is part of iman. That we only do things for Allah. And ihtisaban, after doing that thing, the hope for that thing, the reward upon that thing should only be from Allah. So here Allah says, bring iman on Allah. وَأَنْفِقُوا, and spend. Spend what? مِمَّا جَعَلَكُمْ مُسْتَخْلَفِينَ فِي, what Allah has made you in charge of. What has Allah made us in charge of today? Allah has given us health, alhamdulillah. Allah has given us wealth, alhamdulillah. Allah has given us time, alhamdulillah. So many things Allah has given us. The body Allah has given us. So many people in the world, they don't have health. They want to do things, but they don't have the health. That is why one of the questions that will be asked on the day of Qiyamah, one will be a general question that how did you spend the life Allah gave you? The one question. And one separate question, how did you spend the youth which Allah gave you? The young life. Although that is already included in a person's life, but that will be a separate question. Because when a person is in his youth, he has all the energy he needs to worship Allah. When a person is old, he wants to do many things, but he can't because of his health. But when a person is in his youth, nothing is stopping him besides his own laziness. He's got the energy, he's got everything. So Allah has given us health, alhamdulillah. Allah says, spend that from that health which I have given you. Today we only look at charity as finance, which is a very good thing. The more we give finance, the more we give charity, the better. In the month of Ramadan we are very charitable. And we will see many different charities coming to our doors, knocking in our masajid, give charity here, give charity there. And sometimes we get frustrated. The month of Ramadan is become like a charity month. It is a charity month. The Prophet ﷺ was very, very generous, ajwad. But when it came to Ramadan, his charity was outstanding, more than anything. It was like a wind blowing. Like the wind doesn't discriminate between anything, it affects everything. His charity was to everyone. Very charitable. So to give more and to splash out in Ramadan, in the way of Allah, in the cause of Deen, is a sunnah of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we see, mashallah, the brothers are very charitable. But that is not the only way. One incident before we finish this point is there was a certain person, Mansur ibn Ammar. He used to give a talk like how we are giving a talk and all these people are listening, mashallah. So he used to give a talk and a lot of people used to listen to him. So as he was giving a talk, one person was walking around and he was saying that, give me something in the name of Allah. Anybody who can give me something in the name of Allah? Any person who can give me something in the name of Allah? I am in need. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned, Man sa'ala billahi fa'utuhu. When somebody asks you in the name of Allah, give it to him. One day the Prophet ﷺ was sitting and a person came and he bought some grapes and placed it in front of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Fresh, delicious, very mouth-watering grapes. So the Prophet of Allah was about to eat it and a beggar came. O Prophet of Allah, so delicious grapes, so good grapes, give it to me. The Prophet of Allah gave it to him. He said, okay, take it. One Sahabi, he saw this. He saw that the Prophet of Allah was about to eat the grapes and this person, he came and he begged, he took it away to give it to him. So he ran behind the person, he gave him money. He said, here's the money. You go to the market, you buy your own grapes, give me these grapes. So he bought those grapes off him, gave it as gift to Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Again, the Prophet of Allah is about to eat the grapes and that same beggar comes again, second time. O Prophet of Allah, so good grapes, so mouth-watering, please give it to me, I am in need. The Prophet of Allah gave it to him. And he was about to go away, that person ran behind him again. He said, money, second time, double money for you. Here, take the money, give me these grapes. So he bought the grapes off him again. This happened 3 times. The Prophet of Allah is seeing everything. This person is going, he's got the money now twice, 3 times. Still asking for the grapes. So when he came again, then the Prophet of Allah didn't say anything to him. He just ignored him in a way. Just kept quiet. Didn't even say him yes or no. So Allah did not like this. Allah said that somebody comes to you, be it the same person, although you can see he's got the money to buy double, triple the amount of grapes, he's already been given the money. But he's still coming to ask you, you should have at least said something good to him, but you shouldn't have ignored him. وَأَمَّا السَّائِلَ فَلَا تَنْهَرْ. When Allah revealed this ayah, one of the incident is this incident, that when a beggar comes to you asking in the name of Allah, don't just ignore him. So this person, he was begging. So Mansur ibn Ammar was giving a talk. So he said, look, there is a person begging there. Any person in this gathering, he can give him some money. The amount of money he will give him, I will make dua for him. So now there was a slave who was walking around with 4 dinar. It wasn't actually his money. His master had given him money. His boss had given him money. That today we're going to enjoy a party, so go to the market, get some fruit, get some things that we can enjoy in the evening, some cakes or whatever. So now this person is thinking, I've got this 4 dinar, shall I go to the market and buy these things, or shall I give it to this poor person who's begging? So he went and gave it to that poor person. Mansur ibn Abbar called him. He said, how many you gave him? He said, 4. He said, now I will make 4 dua for you. So he said, now you tell me which dua I should make for you. So he said, dua number 1. I am a slave. Allah should give me freedom. Allah should liberate me. So Mansur ibn Ammar, he made dua. The whole gathering said Ameen. So what is the second dua you want? So he said, I gave 4. Allah should give me much more. So he said, okay. Oh Allah, he has given 4 in your cause. Oh Allah, return him with the best. Number 3, which dua should I make? She said, my master, he is a very sinful person. Make dua that he repents. He repents from his ways. Changes his life. So that person, that Shaykh, he makes dua. Everybody says Ameen. What is the 4th dua? She said, Allah should forgive me. Allah should forgive you. Allah should forgive all of those. Allah should forgive my master. Allah should forgive all of us. So the Shaykh made dua. He went home. The master said, what took you so long? And where is the things that I told you to buy? She said, he told him the incident. She said, which is the first dua he made for you? She said, the first dua that Allah should give me freedom. She said, you are free for the sake of Allah. So 1 dua accepted. Second dua, she said, I gave 4, Allah should give me much more. She said, here 400, I'll give for you. Number 3, the number 3rd dua was for you, oh my master, that you should repent. She said, from today I make tawbah. I will not go into any of my haram activities. I change my life. Number 4, Allah should forgive all of us, whoever was there, the Shaykh, all the gathering, you. She said, this is something which is not in my control. I can't do anything. That night they went to sleep as if a person is saying, as if someone is saying that, oh my slave, you did what you could do. Do you think we will not do what we can do? Everybody has been forgiven. You have been forgiven. The master has been forgiven. The Shaykh has been forgiven. The whole gathering has been forgiven. That is the jackpot. That is the jackpot, the dua that will come out from those that we will give charity to. One is to make a dua. One is to make a dua. Oh Allah, give me this. Oh Allah, give me that. No, that is okay. One is to ask for a dua. Please make dua for me. On one side, we are living in a time where people are so nasty. They will trouble you, they will give you a hard time, they will say all sorts of things for you, and then at the end they will say, dua for me, brother. Brother, you ask it for curse. Brother, don't forgive me in the du'as. I'm definitely going to forgive you. How are you treating the people? Double standards. So we're mentioning all sorts of things in the messages. We are saying all sorts of things to the other person, and then you're asking for dua. Number 3, we don't need to make dua, we don't need to ask for dua, but we make somebody so happy that automatically dua comes out of him. Automatically, that is from the depth of his heart. We don't need to ask. He himself remembers us. That is the jackpot. That is the dua which we need to earn from each other, from the ummah. So we serve somebody so much. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhum didn't need to ask the Prophet of Allah, make dua for me. He served the Prophet of Allah so well that the Prophet of Allah himself made dua for him. The long incident, the hadith of Bukhari and Muslim. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu says that one night I asked my khala, my aunt, Maymuna radiallahu anha, mother, sister, khala. So I asked my aunt that when is the Prophet of Allah going to be spending the night with you? Because she was also one of the wives of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When is your turn, the Prophet of Allah will be spending the night with you. I want to come and stay over. And the only reason I wanted to stay over is because I wanted to see what the Prophet of Allah does at night. That was the only reason, no other reason. So at this time when this incident is going on, Abdullah ibn Abbas is about 9 or 10, 11 years old, no more. He's about 10, 9 or 11 years old, around that age. What is the ambitions going through the youth, the youngster, the little child of today who are at that age? Something to think about. And young Abdullah ibn Abbas wants to learn the life of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam at night. From a young age, Salahuddin Ayyubi rahimahullah, from the age of 12, he had this ambition, he had this dream that Allah accept me for the liberation of Aqsa. What is the youth? What is the little children of today? Their ambitions are. That is when we will get the right tarbiyah, the right upbringing. They will have certain. When the environment at home will be solid, will be on deen. If the parents want the children to be muttaqeen, the parents themselves need to be the imam of muttaqeen. Need to be one step ahead of them. If they want the children to be like Salahuddin and Ghazali and Rumi, then they need to be like the father of Ghazaluddin and Salahuddin and Rumi and all of these people. They need to be a step further. A person cannot expect to do whatever he wants to do and then expect his children to become the Salahuddin of the time. It's not going to work like this. رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ. Then وَجْعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. So we need to be the imam. We need to be ahead of them. We need to show them the way. So Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, he said, I wanted to see how the Prophet of Allah spends his nights. So the Prophet of Allah, Maimuna radiallahu anha, is sleeping the long ways. The Prophet of Allah is sleeping long ways. And the house was so small, there wasn't enough space for a third person to sleep long ways. So I had to sleep sideways. That is how small the house of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was. Can you just imagine how small? A small, even our storeroom is bigger than the whole house of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But that house was the house of Jannah. That house was a blessed house. So it's not the size of the house that makes it barakah or makes a... When a person is living in a tight house, small house, they say, Shaykh, make dua, it's a very small house. Allah give me barakah. Then we get a big house, they put a sticker on. هَذَا مِنْ فَضْلِ رَبِّي لِيَبْلُوَنِي أَأَشْكُرُ. This is from the virtue of my Lord. Allah ka fazl ho gaya mere upar. So the perception is that when I have something big house, then that is a blessing of Allah. But the Prophet of Allah had the smallest house in the world. The Prophet of Allah is performing tahajjud salah. The house is so small that he cannot do sajda until Aisha radiallahu anha moves her feet. That's how small the house is. But that house was the house of Jannah. Allah give us understanding. It's not the size of the house. It's what we do in the house. Do we use that house to make Allah happy, or do we use that house to make Allah upset? That is the question. Any blessing that doesn't take us close to Allah is not a blessing of Allah. If because of that house, because of that car, because of that job, because of that blessing Allah has given us, we are missing our salah, we don't have time for Quran, we don't have time to go to the masjid, that is not a blessing. That is taking us towards Jahannam. A blessing is something that will take us close to Allah. That is a ni'mah. That is a blessing. So Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, I lied down. I wasn't sleeping because I wanted to see what the Prophet of Allah does at night. So the Prophet of Allah came, he spoke to his family for a little while, he went to sleep. To the extent that I could hear him making noise. A little bit of snoring. And then the Prophet of Allah, he woke up maybe a little bit after the midnight, or halfway through the night, or a little bit before, a little bit after he woke up. Then he started wiping the sleep away from his eyes, and he started reading the last few verses, the last 10 verses of Surah Al-Imran. إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم. Imagine the Prophet of Allah reading the Quran. The first thing me and you will do, will pick up the phone. What message I have missed? The first thing the Prophet of Allah is doing, reading Quran. let me speak to my Allah. What is the message from Allah? So, and then he went outside. He looked at the sky. So I knew the Prophet of Allah was in need to do wudu. So I quickly got the water together, I put it there. The Prophet of Allah came, he said, who put the water together? So I said, I did. The Prophet of Allah didn't tell him to do it, he himself did it. 10, 11 year old. Then the Prophet of Allah did wudu, and the Prophet of Allah started his Qiyamul Layl. He didn't tell him that to come and join me, he himself started it. That is why the Hanafi ulama, they mentioned that the Prophet of Allah didn't call anyone for Qiyamul Layl. So we shouldn't call anybody. If we start, anybody else joins in, that's fine. So he started. So I went and stood next to him. So the Prophet of Allah moved me on his right. And then I took a step back. So the Prophet of Allah said, why did you take a step back? She said, you are the Prophet of Allah, how can I be in line with you? The Prophet of Allah became so happy, automatically he made dua for him. And that is the point. Automatically dua came out. Allahumma faqihhu fi deen wa allimhu ta'wil. Oh Allah, give him the understanding of deen, teach him the tafsir of the Quran. Until today, Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu is regarded as one of the greatest mufassir of the Quran. He used to have thousands of students. His student Ikrama, his student Mujahid, his student, so many students he used to have. Mujahid rahimahullah, a Arab, a Tabi'i. He studied the tafsir of the whole Quran with Abdullah ibn Abbas 30 times. Me and you will just read one translation, we think we already mufassir. We'll pick up an English translation from the tafsir. Shaykh, but the Quran translation was saying this, who are you to deal with the Shaykh? Shaykh studied 10 years in the Darul Ulum, he just studied 10 years in the institute. You have just picked up one tafsir from the Shaykh, now you are online in par with the Shaykh to make arguments with him. 30 times, Tabi'een, Arab, whose language was Arabic. He could understand Arabic better than me and you, but he's studying 30 times tafsir of Quran with Abdullah ibn Abbas. So the point is, one is to make dua, one is to ask for dua, and one is to do certain things which dua automatically comes out. Allah give us understanding. So spending in the way of Allah. Number 2, spending our time, spending our health. I mentioned it earlier on in the other masjid, and I would like to highlight it here as well. Every week we should at least give half an hour to 1 hour in the masjid, or in the community doing something. We see many of our youth loafing around, loitering around. We tell the brothers, what are you doing? Nothing to do, chilling, wasting time, killing time. We've got nothing to do. Allah has given us such a short life, we have so many things to do. And brothers are wasting time here and there, causing unnecessary trouble here and there. We should all have a team. I'm just giving some practical examples. We should all have a team in every masjid, a group in every masjid, of as many brothers as we can, even sisters if possible, where once a week they go and visit all the old and the sick people in the community. This is just one example I'm giving you. Be it Muslim, be it non-Muslim, look after them. There are so many old people in our community, our locality, old people's home, in the hospitals, nobody to visit them. Visiting the sick people is also the sunnah of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet of Allah would go and visit them, whether they were Muslim, non-Muslim. The Prophet of Allah went to visit a Jew. We don't know how many people could die with Iman because of this quality of ours. People are in the final throes. People could be in this world for the next few days. People could be in this world for the next few weeks. Allah knows. If we go at that time, we be nice to them. We show them how good Muslims are, how good Islam is. And imagine if they were to get close to Islam and they were to learn about Islam and they are ready to become Muslim and they become Muslim, and few days later they die, few weeks later they leave this world. Imagine they have died with Iman. We are hearing of cases where people have died a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and nobody knew. So many Muslims in the area, but nobody knows. Until the authorities, the police, they break in and they find out this person died 2 months ago. We should be ashamed of ourselves. There is such a big masjid in communities, there are so many Muslims living around and these things are happening. Umar radiallahu anhu used to say, he used to give a talk to himself, Umar, you are alive and a dog dies out of hunger on the day of Qiyamah. What answer are you going to give to Allah on the day of Qiyamah? A dog dies. How dare a dog dies out of hunger? Umar ibn Abdul Aziz rahimahullah used to make an announcement. He said, put food at the top of the mountains in the winter. I don't even want any bird to die out of hunger. This is a concern not only for humanity, for the whole creation of Allah. Today me and you are wasting time. We don't know what to do. So many things to do. So many things to do. Today we need to ask ourselves. Every youngster is complaining, the masjid is not doing this for me. Every person is complaining, the community is not offering this. Every person is, this organization is not doing this organization is not doing this. No. Before we point fingers, these people are not doing anything, the imam is not doing anything, the masjid is not doing anything. What am I doing for the community? What am I doing for the deen of Allah? What am I doing for Allah? Why am I looking at other people to do this and that for me? What am I doing? What have I done for my community? What have I done for my masjid? What have I done for my locality? What have I done for the ummah, for the creation of Allah? These are the questions we need to ask. Today is all about demand, demand, demand. I want this. This is not being done to me. What are we doing? Allah is not going to ask us on the day of Qiyamah, what didn't they do for you? Allah is definitely going to ask, what did you do for them? That is the question Allah will ask on the day of Qiyamah. Today we need to understand who we are. We are Muslims, number one. Alhamdulillahi alladhi hadana lihada wa ma kunna linahtadiya lawla an hadana Allah. If we did not have this iman, where would we be today? We are Muslims, number one. Greatest blessing of Allah. And we need to understand what Islam wants us to do. All the crimes, all the problems that we see here and there, on the high street, on the broadways, all the city centers and all these areas, all the youth causing crime and all this, is because we have forgotten our identity. We have forgotten we are the slaves of Allah. We have forgotten we have iman. We have forgotten it. Do you think a person with iman would do useless activities like this? So let us become straight from today and make Ramadan the starting point and live by it and die with it. The way we park our cars, will either bring somebody close to Islam or will send somebody away from Islam. Every day the Imam is making an announcement, why are we blocking the bus stops? Every day the Imam needs to make an announcement. Do they ever make this announcement in a hospital? Do they ever need to make this announcement in a church? The masjid, the Quran, the believers of Quran, the goers of masjid, who should have showed the world how to live. Today they are blocking the people from living properly. We should have been guiding other people how to live a life. Today we are blocking other people's driveways, other people's lives. This should never be the case. The way we drop litter on the road will either bring a person close to Islam, will turn a person away from Islam. The way we make noises at night, Taraweeh, not everybody in the community is a Muslim. There are many non-Muslims who live around the area. But what do we feel? I'm fasting, I'm going for Taraweeh, I can park wherever I want, I can do whatever I want, I can make as much noise as I want. Jannah is waiting for me. That is the bottom line. That is what me and you think. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody here. Every masjid we go to, same problem. Every masjid up and down the country, even other countries, same problem. And I am highlighting this because this is what is affecting Islam and Muslims everywhere. People are not looking that this person has blocked my driveway, this person are making noise at night. People are saying, these are Muslims. Is this what Islam teaches us? This is what people say. I don't want to become Muslim. I don't want to become Muslim if this is what Islam is all about. Allah give us understanding. One incident, then inshallah we finish. Mufti Rafi Uthmani. I must have mentioned this incident before here. I don't remember. I have mentioned it in many places. Mufti Rafi Uthmani, Mufti Taghi Uthmani's elder brother, still alive. Allah give him a long life. He was traveling. He was somewhere in the West, America, Canada, somewhere. He was on his way back. And he had a transit stopover in Germany. So he had quite a few hours. So he contacted the local brothers there. That look, I will be in Germany in the airport for so many hours. So if you want to come and meet. So they said, Shaykh will come and pick you up. So many hours, what are you going to do in the airport? So they came, they picked him up. They took him here and there. They took him to one of the big shopping centers. So he went to this huge superstore. They were looking around, they were looking at different things. They were thinking of buying a few things here and there. And then all of a sudden one person comes with a big turban from the Sikh community. He comes. He meets them, he greets them. He starts talking to them in Urdu. And they also start talking to him. And then he says that I am the boss of this whole thing. This is mine, this store that you are in. And you can look around whatever you need to see, and after you have finished, come to my office. It's just at the back here. I want to talk to you. So Mufti Sahib said, okay. So after they finished, after a few minutes later, they went to the office. They sat down. So the person is asking that, who are you, what do you do? So Mufti Sahib mentioned a few things about Islam. He never mentioned the name Islam, but he just mentioned a few things about Islam, the beauties of Islam. So he was very taken back. He said, wow, this is so amazing. And then after a while he said, can I become like you? So Mufti Sahib said, yes, you can become like us. So he made him read the kalima. He took the shahada. Then it was time for salah. So Mufti Sahib said that let's do wudu. So they made wudu. Mufti Sahib said let's perform salah. So he performed salah with them. And then after salah, Mufti Sahib said, now I need to go back to the airport. I need to catch a flight. So now you keep in touch. But let me hug you. Congratulations to you, you have become a Muslim. Aap Musalman ho gaye. So as soon as he heard the word Muslim, Musalman, he had a shock. So I've become a Muslim? I've actually become a Muslim? No, don't say this to me. So Mufti Sahib said, yes, Alhamdulillah, you have become. He said, no. I love your religion. I love whatever you have mentioned to me. But don't call me Muslim or Musalman. I look at that as a swear word. I love Islam. I love whatever you are saying to me. But don't call me Muslim. Don't call me Musalman. The Muslims I have seen in my life have never been the best people. Are the worst people I have ever seen. The worst people I have seen back home in India, Pakistan, wherever he was from, when the partitions were going on, he was the worst people I saw in my locality, and he's the worst people I have seen in this country, Germany now. I don't want to be called. I look at that as an insult. Mufti Sahib had to go, so he kept his contact details, they kept in touch. Mufti Sahib, I heard it from him recently. He said now that person has passed away. Few years ago, about 3-4 years ago, he had cancer and then he passed away, that person. We said till the last moment I was in touch with him, he kept on telling me, I love Islam, I love the teaching of Islam, I love Quran, I love Prophet ﷺ, but I don't ever want to be called a Muslim. He always gives me negative thoughts. It brings back very negative memories. Now, this is what happens when we don't give a good name to Islam. People love Islam. People want to become Muslim. But it is the actions of me and you that is stopping them. That is the barrier. If we cannot get people into Islam, let us at least not turn people away from Islam. May Almighty Allah first of all give me the ability, give all of us the ability. Ameen wa sallallahu wa sallam ala rasulina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.